What up, everybody? Welcome back to another Unscripted live on the Serato Twitch channel. Shout out to everyone who listens to these unscripted podcasts on all the podcast platforms. Great to have you locked in with us. This is Serato Unscripted, and today we've got very special guests. Two guests today, legends in their own right. They have a unique connection through music that we're going to explore a bit. Being from Detroit, they carry the legacy of this influential city and keep it progressing for the future with their music. And now their new school, the Underground Music Academy. And Serato has partnered with the Underground Music Academy, and we're thrilled to help the next generation of producers and musicians coming through the Underground Music Academy develop and innovate in the tradition of Detroit's musical legacy. So the two key players we got on today are Amp Fiddler and Waajeed. Please welcome Amp Fiddler and Waajeed to the show. What up, guys? Great to have you on the show. Apparently, this is the first time you guys had an interview together, right?
Yeah, it's our first interview together in terms of the public. Usually, I guess it's
crazy.
Amp, can you hear us?
Yeah,
Live, y'all. So yeah, that's what it is.
It's great to have you guys today. Thank you.
A little crazy, but
thank you so much for joining us both.
my phone, I'm telling you.
We're gonna make it through this. But hey, I want to say first off, congratulations so much to both of you guys on the launch of your school, Underground Music Academy. I'd love to talk to you both about mentorship and your relationship to each other, if you're down with that. And I'd like to start off with Amp, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Amp, can you hear me okay?
No. Yeah, I can.
All right, let's get right into it, man. Look, it's a real pleasure to be talking to you today, man. I've been playing your tracks for many years, huge fan. And from what I understand, you've always made music education and mentorship a priority in your life. Can you tell me, was there an event that happened in your life that made you want to teach others?
Well, I think I was always looking for ways to learn myself. And in that, I was inspired and mentored by kind of like the cats that were in my neighborhood and the people that I toured with. Like if it wasn't for George Clinton, I wouldn't be where I am right now as far as his mentorship and his giving back to me. And I think most of the groups that I tour with at a young age were all very giving in the respect of teaching me how I could move forward as a musician and an artist. So, you know, when you get that kind of love from people, you can't help but to, to give that back. And that, I guess I've kind of been that way ever since.
So when you were in LA, you lived in... I can hear you loud and clear, really clear. You lived in LA for a time, and from what I understand, you had a school out in LA. Is that true?
Actually, in LA, living with George and being kind of mentored from him and living in California, he paid for me to live in an apartment in Hollywood. And that's why I started Camp Amp with all my friends that came into town. We kind of crashed at this place and used it for a launch pad for us to kind of learn and grow and record, and try different things. And that's when I decided to call it Camp Amp, because it was just like, cats were just coming into town and just crashing there. We just recording all day. So that was like the beginning of the Camp Amp for me. It was crazy. It was beautiful though.
I feel like those environments are so conducive to learning, just to be able to be surrounded by, like-minded
that was
people.
The beginning of it. Yeah, I think everybody wanted to record, everybody wanted to grow, and I was the only one who had a 4-track recorder. Back then we recorded 4-track cassette, so you know, I had everything in the apartment that we needed to grow. You know, it was amazing. So we would just sit and record all day. It was cool, like we still do.
And of course, you know,
Yeah.
when you played in Parliament and Funkadelic, you talked about George Clinton being a huge part of that experience for you. How did that affect your development as an artist, not only with recording, but just maybe seeing the world and being around such amazing musicians?
That was the dream in action. That was like, um, that was my vision board turning into reality at that time. I was into vision board and images and affirmation, and that was one of the dreams that came true. So, I mean, it couldn't have been a better time for me to be around such amazing musicians, and I was right at the pinnacle because it was just about to peak and go downwards. It had kind of peaked, and it was about to take a little fall, and we recorded "Do Fries Go at That Shake," and it kind of lifted it a little bit. But to me, the amazing part was just being around the musicians that were still alive and that had started it, and being able to play with them was like University of the P Funk is what I called it, the U of the P. So it was a stomping ground, uh, kind of a learning school environment for me all the time, because the musicians were just ridiculous. And not that they were so accomplished musicians, but they just had the funk that the other cats just didn't have.
That's amazing.
Just the rhythm that God gave them, that was just special.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so many accomplished musicians have come through that group and had, you know, careers on their own, much like yourself. You've also had some incredible collaborations with people like Jamiroquai, Lucy Pearl, Seal, Maxwell, and you've released several albums, some of which were held up by record labels. Am I right?
Yep. You said some of them which were held up by records?
Yeah, some of them were held up by record labels. I'm curious to know, like, what are some of the lessons you had to learn about the music industry through that process?
Well, I learned that I shouldn't be getting so high and fucked up while I'm trying to do career things. And I learned that things would have been different had I been sober. And I learned that in spite of that, I had a real good time, having a good time, trying to make those things happen. But there was always this cloud over my head. You know, maybe it was the weed, you know, or some other substance that creates that. And that was the biggest part, that I thought that if I had anything to change when I go back, it would be that I would eliminate all the drugs out of my life, even though I was still successful and I was still banging my head. I realized that I ran into some really cool possibilities, because I wasn't getting high all the time. So I was still creating my possibility and making things happen. But I realized that if I had worked harder, like, you know, like Waajeed and UR and the other, and Moody Man and Theo and the other brothers that have their own labels, to name a few out of Detroit, that I could have made that happen without all of that, had I known. But back then, everybody was about getting a deal, and being signed to somebody, and I didn't realize that wasn't necessarily the answer for the solution, you know, until later. and it was there's a good and a bad side to both those things. So for me, as an artist who's a singer and a producer and a writer, it was better for me to be able to label because I needed a machine, even though I could have did it myself. It probably would have took longer. And I was in the house in techno and that market, but we were making funk. So until I met the label in London, I learned that I need to collaborate with a lot more people in order to be successful. So I think that was the other thing out of my past that I learned, was that collaborations are crucial. So those things helped me to build my career and understand what I needed to be doing better in order to be successful on my own.
That's such good advice. And it's something actually I want to talk to you a bit about too, Waajeed. It's interesting. Amp talked a bit about Underground Resistance, You Are, Moody Man, Theo Parrish, and on our interview in the past, we talked a little bit about that. You're an independent record label owner with Bling 47 and Dirt Tech Records. That also is almost a very Detroit thing to do. You do it for yourself. And I know that I'd love to hear about the people that kind of showed you those ways when trying to put those record labels together. Who were the people that really kind of showed you the ropes?
I mean, there's only one really solid answer for that, and that's Barry Gordy. Motown. Like just 5 minutes down the street from us. I mean, Barry showed us as Detroiters that it's our birthright to make sure that we own, and produce and manufacture our own records. So yeah, I think, and besides Barry, there's Transmat, there's Underground Resistance, who I ended up distributing records through earlier in my career. I mean, Moody Man, Theo, again, but we all learned it from Motown Records.
Wow. Of course.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Motown must have played a huge role. Was that a big influence for you too, Amp, as a young man?
It was a huge influence for me. And along with, like Waajeed just said, like all the other new generation, like Juan Atkins and Carl Craig and, the other young influences that we had were prevalent after Motown. So Motown was the pinnacle. That was like the ultimate influence. That made you proud to be from Detroit. So, and it made you proud to know that there was a black man who started a business from nothing and made it into an empire. That's a lot of inspiration. That makes you stay in Detroit because, it's kind of corny to move out of Detroit to other places and always talk shit about you being from Detroit and you live in another city. But you always talk about you from Detroit and shit. To me, that's always been kind of corny because if you represent the city, you live in the city and you struggle and you fight for your city. I think that's important. I believe in living in other places temporarily. You always come back home.
I like that. I think that's
live and uncut.
I'm sure Waajeed will agree me on that one.
No, it's. I think that I love that pride in the city. You got so much to be proud of in Detroit. I mean, we all look at Detroit. We all want to be part of that. We all want a part of that sound. I think that's what's beautiful about the city of Detroit is that total pride and what you guys have created and still constantly are creating. It's the influence of Detroit. I'd love to touch on that too. You guys.
Your show ain't long enough for that.
I guess so. But I mean, we did talk about when you were on the show last time, Waajeed. We did talk about this, and I'd love to just to quickly touch on it again, though. But I don't know if people give Detroit as much credit as they should. In a lot of respects, birthing so many different genres of music. But, yeah, I mean, what would your perspective be on that, as far as where do you think Detroit should be placed as far as global culture ambassador for new sounds?
Detroit is the center of the planet, without question. Like it's non-negotiable. In terms of music culture and like the Black influence that is represented in the world, and like copied, and like time after time after time, so much that the copy doesn't even see itself as a copy. But like in the same way that Detroit is probably has suffered from a level of erasure in terms of the culture of music, so have Black people. So and Detroit is a Black city, so it's really the same conversation. Like why? The question is why.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Do you with Underground Music Academy, is this a big part of what you're hoping to do, is to kind of, I guess, balance that out by providing an opportunity for specific Black people in Detroit to be able to prosper within the music industry?
Yeah, I mean, and as a correction to what you said earlier today, Underground Music Academy is founded by myself and Mike Banks from Underground Resistance. So, I'm taking on the role of director, but really, like this is a community-led initiative, and that's where AMP comes into play in terms of his what he's done already with Camp AMP, and for countless other people, not just Black folks, but countless other people in the world. Our understanding is that we understand our value, and we know the space that we play inside of music, and what UMA wants to do is really just a tradition. We're just carrying on a tradition that people like Amp and people like Mike have done for us, even what Barry Gordy has done for countless musicians in Detroit. It's just a tradition that we want to carry on, and just make sure that things are equitable, and that we we do what's necessary for not just the future generation of music, but people who are here now, people who put in their work. Like we want to make sure our OGs get their equity, and that they're represented properly, and that they got the tools in order for us to be able to go out and take over the fucking world.
Is the approach of Underground Music Academy quite different from, I guess, a traditional school where it's a lot more about collaboration and understanding the music business in a more of a, through a different from the Detroit perspective, from understanding independence and mentorship?
Yeah, I think that's what separates us from most academies. Most academies are going to try to teach you to be famous. Underground Music Academy is teaching you to be a better human being. Our goal, and what we want to attempt to do when we actually open up the school, is to teach from a lens of social justice. That's first, so that if you decide that you don't want to make music, that you want to be anything else, that you kind of do it in a way that makes sense to the human being that's right in front of you or next to you. So it's really about lifting up folks, based off the understanding that we have, because primarily, like our city is being we're the underdogs, and so teaching history from an underdog perspective puts the people who are on the side right in the center, and then once the people that are on the side and the center, we're addressing the needs of everybody.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question for Waajeed? When you met when you met Amp, what did Amp represent to you as a musician in Detroit?
That's a great question. I always address it in almost all my interviews. Amp represented an opportunity for us. When we saw him, in the neighborhood with his unique stylish clothes on, and like he was just as hood as anybody else, but like he had the ability to communicate a level of like, listen, you can do this thing. You can actually be a living and working artist inside of this neighborhood. You know, that's what he represented for us, you know, and still does in so many ways. You know, and Amp's ability to have connection with people that are not just his age or older, but his ability to connect with people who are younger is something that, you know, like that's what we want to do with the school. So that's why we made sure that, you know, like our first events that we start opening up this year are Camp Amp based. You know what I'm saying? It's a collaboration between UMA and Camp Amp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Amp. I mean, you're famously known for mentoring Jay Dilla and Waajeed on the drum machine. What was it like watching them develop into such accomplished musicians and artists?
That was inspiring. And I was just speaking to someone yesterday about how cool it is to be in the presence of talent. And that's another generation under you. That part is so amazing that if you're open-minded enough, then you can grow. But if you're a simp, then there's no glow possible. But the thing that was cool about being around Dilla and Waajeed and the rest of the cats was that not only was I teaching them, but they were teaching me. So that's the beauty of being in a situation where you're learning together, even though you may know more than they do. They have a new approach, different than you do, to show you a whole different way of looking at things. And I learned that from them. So that was the payoff, big time for me. That a lot of people don't understand how cool it is to have the right energy, vibration, frequency, light around the center of people to take everything to the next level, and with no limitations and only possibilities. And that's what happened with us all.
Yeah, that's really beautiful, and it's cool. I wanted to say, you know, you've collaborated together with other. I mean, both of you guys have collaborated together with not only yourselves but other legendary Detroit artists, Moody Man, Carl Craig, Dez, Theo Parrish, and so on. From the outside, Detroit seems like a very tight knit circle. How important is it for you to elevate each other in Detroit?
Well, you know, we don't have a choice. You know what I mean? Like Detroit is
right.
Detroit is very much it's a tight knit community because there's only a few of us who have dedicated our lives to this trade. You know, like we all battered and scarred and like divorced and like what I mean, like this is a result of us being committed to our trade. It's not a matter of luck that you actually every gig that you go to you might run into Moody Man, you might run into Theo Parrish or whoever else, or DJ Minx. Like these are the folks who are consistent, that will actually show up to work every day. And, and as positive as it is, and as healthy as it is, it's also extremely competitive as well. That was my takeaway from Amp Fiddler's basement when, like when I first started, like only the strong will survive. And this music business or your success inside of this business has nothing to do with talent. It has everything to do with hustle and consistency. That's so those are the takeaways. Largely, I mean, like, it's just the same people doing the same things because those are people that are committed to this work. Those are people that are bettering themselves through the things that they produce, which happens to be music. Those same people could be those same people could be chefs. But like the world is lucky enough to have them as musicians and DJs.
I love that you talked about consistency there.
I met a kid at the mall yesterday.
Go ahead, Amp.
I met a kid at the mall yesterday, and he said to me, he wasn't a kid. He was probably your age, Waajeed. And he said, man, I've been doing this for a long time. I need, people be hating on me and don't be paying attention to my shit. I ain't getting no love. I mean, what you think I gotta do? I said, what do you do? He said, I produce, write, rap, make beats, blah, blah. I said, man, you ain't been putting the work in. I said, there's nothing I could do to help you because you haven't been putting the work in. Because if you were putting the work in, people would know you, you would be successful, and you would need help from anybody because they want to help you because you've been putting the work in. So everything that Waajeed just said is 100% made me think about that situation. It's hard to have to tell somebody that, but the truth of the matter is you have to put the work in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think what you touched on there, Gito, consistency, it's a really, really good point. Do you feel like do you feel sometimes people come into the industry and they have high expectations and think things will turn around? I mean, both of you guys I've known Waajeed, I've known you for at least 10 years. And I know Waajeed's music, I know Amp's music for more than, 10 years. So I'd say that, you guys have been at this for a very long time. And I think, how do you manage your expectations within the music industry?
How did I manage my expectations within the music industry?
Yes.
Whatever you see, there's some level of success for me, or, if you see me and you have an idea that, it's only 10% of my expectations, or 5%. I expect a lot, because I put in so much, like it's really a thing where it's just like, I do feel that the musicians and artists, for example, whenever I call Amp, I just want to talk shit, like he normally has a drum machine in front of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and how many people do you know, like that do other things that are constantly investing inside of what, their creative self or whatever they've chosen to do. And every person that I know is like that. Whenever I call Mad Mike Banks, like he's got a drum machine in front of him. Like we are committed beyond belief. Like I think DJ Minx just got the cover of some magazine recently, right? But how long has DJ Minx been DJing? Like seriously, got a real thoroughbred in terms of ability to play or hasten.
Long time.
Hot wax hell. You know what I mean? Like these, and in my opinion, like these women don't get the respect that they deserve. But like this is not about what you deserve so much. And America's been a huge teacher of that in terms of us understanding that as Black people. But it's really about what you take. Stop asking. You know what I mean? Like you can't expect. Like 2 and 2 is not always 4 in this business. It's really about your consistency level and how much you really love this shit. Like this is not just something that you drop out of college to do and just try, to see if it'll work. You actually got to really love this shit. And I think that's the connection between all of us. Like you really, really genuinely love and respect the power of music.
Hey, that's it, man.
That's right.
That's I'm so glad you brought that up, and I did really want to ask both of you, what does the power of music mean to you? That's literally Serato's tagline. I feel like it's something we ask all our guests, and I feel like it's always good to get a perspective from you guys on that.
I'll let him answer that first.
The power of music for me is my passion, because what powers me is my passion. I love music, so my passion is what powers my music because I love it so much. So regardless of what, the music always takes me places that nothing else has ever taken me. And I'm passionate about it, so that's, other than maybe a woman, that's the next best thing. And sometimes they have to take second seat to music. They don't like it, but we're really passionate about music. It's what we love.
And that never dies at all, right? It's kind of a flame that always burns. That passion.
Yeah, it is. The frequency is always there, and we, you get the results when you put the work in, and you don't even. It's crazy because you don't always even have to have expectations. You do so much work after a while. You know how great it is. You know it's going to reach heights that you expect. You know that it's going to go places unknown that you didn't expect. So it's all the faith and the passion and the hard work that you put in. That's the payoff. And it's like a plant, and seeds. You plant the seed, and you wait in the sun, and you water it, and it grows. But if you let that shit dry up, and you just look at it every day and walk past it, you get nothing. And you love it so much that you want to see that. You're passionate about it. You put the time in. I think that's it for me. What would George used to always say? Funk is its own reward.
Yeah.
That one.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. What was the question, Matt? Could you ask the question again?
It was, what is the power of music? What does the power of music mean to you?
I guess to reflect what Amp just touched on. I mean, the power of music means everything. It's the ability to. I mean, music is the soundtrack that changed the world. Like I was just in San Francisco the other day, and or this past weekend for a gig, and just the unifying power that music has, between people, between strangers. It's the soundtrack of the planet, I believe. I believe that somewhere in the deep solar system, like there's a hum, there's some tone out there, that might be B flat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's also the power that keeps the universe on its axis too. When evil and negativity, like weigh on this planet, the balance of that is music and positivity that, keeps this place that we live in from falling into the abyss.
Yeah.
So music means everything. And I think as an example of Amps in my career, like the reason why we kind of like jump from genre to, like the reason why we jump around like that is just because there's no limit to it. Like being from a city and state,
right,
Michigan, and being from a city called Detroit, we're genreless with this thing. It's like there's nobody on the planet that can tell me I need to stop at 93 BPMs or 25 BPMs. Like it's just like I'm in service to my spirit, and I'm in service to my ancestors to be able to listen to them and obey, and put some paint on the canvas. So music means everything.
Yep.
It's great to hear that.
Yeah, I think it's one of the only things on this planet that changes the way people feel and think.
Yeah.
Big time, especially when you think about the artists that have controlled countries in a way that governments had them killed because their music was so strong, it swayed the people past the powers that control that country. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's 100% true, Amp. I actually was reading a book very recently called The History of 12 Killings, History of 7 Killings. It's a fantastic book about Jamaica, and it talks about the political movement in Jamaica with Bob Marley, of course. And
Bob Marley, that's right.
Yeah, I think.
And Fiddler was one of the same.
Right. Yeah, it was a really interesting perspective for me, especially growing up in a country like New Zealand, very far away from a lot of that. Understand the political aspect and like you said, how powerful music can be. That literally, the government will want to get involved and potentially eradicate you if you're causing disruption that they don't agree with.
Correct. That's how powerful music is.
Yeah. I did
And
want
right now on this planet, we're not using it for that reason so much. We've been swayed so far to the left. The underground is the only place to remain, to be a voice, to be heard in a way different than all the bullshit that everybody else is talking. Nonsense, not sense, no sense. So it's beautiful the way it changes things and creates different people to think and come together.
I'm a big fan of both of your musics as individual artists, and I wanted to quickly talk a bit about you guys' latest song, specifically your song Amp Energy, and the fact that you got Waajeed on the remix.
Mm-hmm.
I want to jump and play.
Yes.
I want to play that song in a second, but I just want to really quickly ask you guys a little bit about that. It seems so appropriate talking about energy and power and the way music moves you. And just before I jump into that, I want to say something you talked about, Waajeed. You talk about tempo. You're not restricted to 93 beats per minute, and you guys take a lot of influence from both of those things. As fans of both of you guys' career, I think that's something that you both do so well. You can exist in this up-tempo house world. You can also make R&B music, soul and funk and hip-hop, and it just all, it's all perfect. I love it all. And I love actually that freedom that as a listener you kind of give us. It's almost like you say it's okay to like house music and hip-hop, and you can like R&B, and it's all good music. But I'd love to hear a little bit about this track Energy. Amp, maybe you could tell me about how you came up with this, with what the idea of it is.
Everything surrounding us with light and frequency creates energy and brings energy, and the song is just about that, because it works so amazing. Like, we're on communication devices right now, but both of you know that there's times that someone calls you and you're in a conversation about that person. So the energy right now, I feel like, is rising to a new dimension, even though that song is one that I wrote in 2018, I think, or even before that, 16. So, Waajeed and I have been knowing each other for years, and it's interesting how we grow apart and we come back together from from years ago, and it's been an amazing comeback for us to loop. When we were both on stage together, competing against each other for many times together, because
you was kicking our ass.
We love this shit. It's our passion, so we love competing. We have fun. We know how to give it up when the other one wins. I've been in situations where Waajeed is winning. Oh, shit, got me. And then there's been situations where I've won. And then when we start working together musically and doing more production, it just made sense. Which we go back and forth trading things, because we know there's no limits in the way that we work and try to be as creative as possible. So when he came forward and said he would do the remix, it was just perfect timing for me, because it was an older song and I wanted to bring new life to it. And he brought that new life back to it, and it's changed the way people hear the song, and that's priceless.
That is.
Thank you, sir.
Gito, do you want to quickly talk about
Thank you, Waajeed.
What you did with it?
When a producer is meant to do a remix, your job is to put that song in another context, put it in another space that hadn't been heard before. So the first thing I made sure that I didn't do when I got the opportunity to do the track or remix the track, because I didn't listen to Amp's version. I felt like I owed it to Amp to put it into my space, into a space that actually worked for me. So when I heard the lyrics and I heard Paul Randolph doing backgrounds on it, big up to Paul, I thought to myself, like,
Paul
this
Hill.
sounds like a skate jam.
Paul Hill.
And I started thinking about I started thinking about Amp's history with Moody Man and, you know, like skate jams and all those things. So I thought to myself, like, yeah, this is the space that I want to put it into. And I had some horn samples from my homie Deshaun Jones, and actually it's an Iwi part in there as well that I snipped from another session. And yeah, I did what I do best. It's like I put all of these elements together and came up with a skate jam.
All right. Well, let's get into a bit of it. I can't play the whole song, just, you know, because of the, you know, the situation we're in. But I'm going to play a snippet of it. This is Energy by Amp Fiddler, and this is Waajeed's Doughboy remix. Let's get into that right now.
I feel you feel me, your energy all over me. Feel me, feel you, your energy. And I know that I'm miles away from you, and all your auras are kissing me, hugging me, loving me. Our frequencies are magnetically anomalies. Take me through the galaxies. I feel you, feel me, energy all over me. Feel me, feel your energy all over me. I feel you, your energy all over me. I feel me, your energy like sunshine.
There we have it. That was Amp Fiddler with Energy. This is Waajeed's Doughboy remix. Man, that's fire. That's really fire. Thank you for sharing that, man.
Yeah, I didn't mention why I call it the Doughboy remix. So notoriously, the Pershing Doughboys was the basketball team that belonged to the high school that I went to, that Amp lives near, that we actually saw Amp for the first time and started going to his house. So the Doughboys remix is a
Right.
shout out to that parking lot that we used to look across and see Amp and all of these fly-ass clothes. You know what I mean? Like doing what he do. So yeah, that's why we call it the Doughboy remix.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
So yeah, from what I understand, Amp, you lived across the street from the school that Gito went to. Is that right?
That's where I live. Across the street from
Incredible.
Pershing High School now.
Now,
So-
we're not gonna get no specific address though.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No.
I just
Right
wanted to
across the
quickly
street from Pershing High School now.
I just wanted to quickly touch on something that I thought was really amazing that you talked about, and when you were talking about learning from the younger generation, when you as a mentor, you also learn from the younger generation. I thought that was a really beautiful thing to talk about, and I just love to expand on that. I think what are some of the things that Waajeed has shown you, Amp?
Can I answer that question for Amp?
Commitment. I mean, Waajeed puts the damn time in. He inspires me because if I call Waajeed, he's gonna be working on some shit. So I know that he pushes me to reach higher levels of workmanship, and that is what this is all about. And not only that, he's always looking to that next thing to do to make it easier for him. Technically, always looking at how I can learn the technology better and doing it, constantly doing it and taking it to another level all the damn time. I'm like, shit, man. Can't beat that. I mean, I learned from that alone. I mean, damn, you got your label, you got your records, you making merchandise. It's just like all across the board. The brother is living the dream as we watch people live that dream in the 60s. And now, differently, he's doing the same thing and creating the same kind of results with the records. Making hit records, selling good records, making great records, and inspiring people like me to do the same. As an older generation than him, I'm like, oh shit, I got to get my feet out the mustard and catch up. And that is what's up.
That's what's up.
He'll make you get your feet out the mustard and catch up. Otherwise, you'll slip on a hot dog. Can't do that.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I gotta ask though, since we have you
Keep
both,
up. Come on, let's go.
since we have you both on the chat, I really want to ask, Gino, what's your favorite? Give us your top 3 favorite Amp Fiddler songs.
Mm. Oh man, there's so many. That's a tough question. Which is your favorite child?
I'll do that.
I definitely say this energy track. Yeah, what I did is after I worked on it, I went back and listened to the original, and I'm glad that I didn't listen to it prior because I would have been intimidated to even fuck with it. So yeah, so the energy joint, I love.
Oh
that,
no, man, not for you.
What he did with that, man, was crazy. So I'm glad that I didn't touch it. And then there was another remix that I did for Amp as well that ended up on Kenny's label. What was the name of that one?
Man, I'm lost for titles today, so don't ask me the same damn question, please.
Okay. So there was another track that I
can't remember my own damn songs. That's from the Amp Dog Nights record, and you killed it. And it's a damn shame when you can't name the titles of your own record.
Yeah, that's how hard we work. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the titles don't matter. The only thing that matters is the vibe. But
my head is somewhere else right now.
Track
I can't
did,
think about it.
With that track for Moody Man that was on Moody Man's label, I can't think of the name.
Oh, you killed 2 remixes for that record.
But I did 5.
Oh,
yes, you did.
Wow.
I did 5 versions of it because I made the fatal mistake of listening to Amp's original first. So I was thinking like, man, I gotta outdo this. I gotta kill it. And so I ended up doing 5, and then I went to him and was like, look, which one is better? Which one do you like? And then he ended up picking 2, and that's the ones that Moody Man put out. But I also will say that there's another man. I redid a redo that Amp had done, the 1964 what joint?
Oh,
yep, 1960 what?
Yeah, 1961. I redid
Sure
that because I enjoyed Amp's version so much. What I wanted to do is I wanted to call him and ask him to be on the record, but I didn't have enough money. So I was like, well, you know what? Like, I'm gonna pick another artist that I can afford. And so that was on. I think it was the second. It might have been the first Acts of Love mixtape that I did. That where all the sales from the record go to the school that we're in now. Actually. Yeah,
you killed it.
Well, I'm glad you talked about the Mahogany Music album that you did, Amp. I'd love to know a little bit more about that while we got you here. So that was your record with Moody Man. I'm Doing Fine. Is that the one that you worked on with him?
That was I think the first one that I did with him as a solo artist, and I met Moody Man doing sessions with Waajeed. What's homegirl's name? Norma Jean Bell.
Norma Jean Bell
was calling me to play on some songs that were Kenny's, and I was going to her house, And then I remember we met Kenny, and he said, "I want to drop some records off at your house," and he dropped some records off. And I was like, "Damn, so you're Moody Man?" Because I knew him as Kenny. And said, "Yeah, Moody Man. Yeah, that's how I put records out there." Because my label kept asking me if I knew Moody Man. I was like, "No, I don't know nobody. I don't know Moody Man." But I did know Moody Man as Kenny. So we kept collaborating together. And one day, I went over to his house. And he said, "I got some, just sing some stuff, just sing on this and that on it for me." And that song came up. That's how that song came up in his basement.
That's such a great song.
It was good collaboration.
Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah.
Big up to Kenny, man. Yeah. Big up to Theo. Big up to
he's a good producer, man.
Yeah. I also want to send a big shout out to OP and Sonny and Derek, Destruct, the whole crew. What up, though, to the Serato team?
Right.
Yep. Yeah, we got Mr. Sonny James in the chat and OP Miller in the chat right now. So if you see Serato in the chat, that's OP. Mr. Sonny James also always helping with putting this unscripted podcast together. We're very grateful to have you guys in the chat right now, and we really appreciate everything you do.
We owe. I specifically owe them a ton of gratitude. One, Sonny's one of the best DJs on the planet. He and Derek actually.
Facts.
Low key, you know what I'm saying? Big up to the whole Filipino squad, man. Y'all do it the best. Y'all kill it. Yes. Respect to the whole Filipino squad. Freddie, everybody. You know what I mean? But largely, when they came here to the D like a couple weeks ago, because we have a partnership with Serato that I'm sure that you were going to address at some point. But yeah, when they came here to the D, you know what I mean, and it didn't even feel like we was working. Like the chemistry and the energy felt so right. And next time we just got to make sure that Sonny pull up. You know what I mean, take him, to get all of the fresh Detroit fits.
Absolutely.
The bourgeois haircuts and the whole thing. That's an internal joke, by the way.
Maybe we'll make a visit to the classic restaurant Fishbones. Is it Fishbones?
Yeah, it's Fishbones. Yeah, Fishbones.
It is.
Yeah, it's so many more.
Yep.
I got to give a quick shout out actually to a really good friend of mine, also an ex-Serato employee, Matt Shaquan, who's actually from Detroit, and he really put me on to a lot of great music from Detroit. I got to be honest, he was a real vehicle as far as me understanding what was going on when we went out to Movement. And actually, I believe I met you, Amp Fiddler, through Matt Shaquan. We did an event together as part of the Detroit Movement Festival.
You did at that tent at Movement, right?
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Yeah, it was a fantastic event, man.
Matt's a good cat. Big shout out to him as well.
Yep, Recluse. He's actually got a hilarious story. I'll let him tell it, but I know that he I don't know if you guys have ever received a demo tape. Like he gave he put his demo tape in he was working at a sandwich joint in Detroit, and he put his demo tape in the middle of a sandwich. Was it Carl Cray he gave it?
Carl.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, big up to Carl and Recluse, man. What up, though, man? Yeah, man. We got a lot of love for that dude.
Yes,
here,
sir.
Man. Like,
yeah.
Should I say what his whole name was? But no, I don't let him go.
Yeah, that's so good. But yeah, that was the hell of a way to get your someone's attention when you put your demo tape in a sandwich. I mean, you might be liable for a dental bill, but.
Oh shit. You gotta do what you gotta do.
You got it.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Please,
y'all, don't give me no demo in the sandwich.
No, don't do that though.
Yeah, you can't put an MP3 in a sandwich though, can you?
Don't you do that.
That's dangerous because it could end up in the garbage just by chance. You didn't see it, it fell out in the bag.
That's
it. I'm gonna be upset. You know what I'm saying? Fuck my sandwich up, bro.
Well, I hope you put it outside.
Yeah.
Not in the sandwich. Actually, in the sandwich.
I'm pretty sure it was in.
You put it outside the sandwich, so when you open up your bag,
put it under the windshield wiper or something like that. You know what I mean? Not in my damn sandwich. I don't want.
Right.
Yeah.
throw it on the seat with the Lions tickets, so I got a choice. You know, the Lions tickets and a CD or cassette. I'm gonna take the cassette first.
But I wanted to ask: is movement going on this year in Detroit, and are you guys going to be part of it?
I think it is happening this year, and yeah, I got an invite to play. But what we're also considering is doing, like, we had plans to do an event with Amp UMA versus Camp Amp here, but we might do it in around the time of movement to, you know, facilitate the folks that are in town. So yeah, something we thinking about.
That's a fantastic idea, and from what I heard, I was talking to you the other day, Waajeed. You were talking about the actual building where a UMA is at, and you guys have a parking lot. Can you talk a little bit about what your plans are to do with that spot, or are you able to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the Underground Music Academy, or UMA, is currently in our first phase of our vision for the space, which is construction. Which means that we're currently raising money to actually finish the building. The building is like a pretty huge building. It's a 3-floor building, and where UMA is on the 2nd floor. And then we actually got a parking lot that, you know, like, we're considering, like, throwing events at, you know, like, and being inviting the community and doing quite a few things in the near future. But we are in a space now where we're raising funds. So I think we're close to $100,000 into our $300,000 goal. So yeah, we still got quite a bit of work to do.
So if you run a big corporation and you're in the chat and you know you want to put some money to a good cause, Underground Music Academy, you know, if you fit the bill, because I know that you guys are also pretty specific about who you work with, which I think is a really smart move.
Yeah, we have to be. You know, it's very important. You know, a lot of people are in trouble. And, you know, like, they tend to lean on places like UMA to actually get out of trouble. But we are not a get out of jail free card. You know, we're very serious about our partners being committed to, you know, really large scale change and changing systems that are in play at the moment. So, yeah, but yeah, we take all donations, small, large. You know, it's really an investment, not just in yourself, but the community of future leaders. You know, like, that's what we're after to capture, whether they be young or old. Like, we're actually, you know, like, everybody has a place here inside of this space.
Absolutely, and if you're in the chat and you do want to donate to Underground Music Academy, OP Miller has posted in here the donate link to the website for Underground Music Academy, and you can donate there if you want to be a part of that and want to contribute to a good cause. Because what the folks at what Waajeed and Amp and what the folks at Underground Music Academy are doing is so important, and it's something that I hear a lot. You know, a lot of people talk about music saving their lives, and I really do believe it is a lifesaver, and it's such an important, you know, thing to do for your mental health. You know, if you can get yourself in some kind of creative space, you know, wonders will happen, and it'll allow you to, you know, put a lot of focus to the right things.
100%. And we're also doing like a live auction with you guys right now.
That's right.
Yeah, like, we're auctioning off the CD or the control vinyl. And the highest bidder will win, but all the profits from the auction actually come to UMA. So if OP could drop that cool link down there, y'all check that out. I think the final day is tomorrow for the first set of records that are actually going out.
That's right.
And then we're going to re-up it again, right?
That's right. Actually, yeah. Thank you very much to OP. Serato has posted that in the chat. So yeah, you can actually. It's a really good cause, and you can get some really cool, never before available control vinyl. The elusive, you know, a seeing eye white control vinyl that has never been available for purchase is available now, signed by some legendary DJs, and we've got a bunch of different ones available, and they're all different prices. So, you know, if you're a collector or you just want something that, you know, a piece of history, this is a great way to, you know, help Underground Music Academy and also add some fire vinyl to your collection. So, yeah, you can't lose, really. I mean, those things, they go for a lot of money.
That's right.
I wanted to talk also a little bit about outside of the school. I want to talk about you guys as individuals. You know, what are you currently working on project-wise?
Right now, I just relaunched my label called Bling 47 that I actually started my humble beginnings with. I think it was 2005 or 2006 where I
Wow.
was actually really instrumental in putting things out from the label. But since my heart kind of like went a different direction than hip hop, so I stopped focusing on the label for a couple of years and started a new label called Dirt Tech Rec, or Dirty Techno Records, which is really is what it means. But as of the beginning of this month, actually on Dilla's birthday, is when I decided to actually relaunch that label and start putting out new releases or things that I hadn't released out on the label. So yeah, right now this month we've actually been showing on our Instagram. We've been showing unreleased Bling 47 breaks. If anybody's familiar with that, it was a series that I did every Monday for a year straight, where I shot and filmed and edited a video and went out every Monday for, I think, a duration of 2011, something like that. But yeah, so I just relaunched Bling 47. Up and coming for Dirt Tech Rec is another Acts of Love record, where all the profits actually go towards UMA. And largely this year, this July, I'm going to be doing my first major release with BMG and Trezor, with a record that's near and dear to me called The Memoirs of High Tech Jazz, where we celebrate, I guess, a genre of music that was invented by Mad Mike Banks and Timeline. And I celebrate this kind of bastardization of unpredictable styles. So yeah, check that'll be out in July.
All right, you heard it here first, July. Quick question about Bling 47. I mean, I had Bling 47 records. I was working at a record store at the time. I was buying those records. Forgive me if I get this wrong, but was Tron part of the was on Bling 47?
It was, yeah. It was my first instrumental release where I did it was a track called Tron. Technically the first track that introduced hip hop and techno in the same space.
Okay, I feel like it's we got to play this track just in case anyone doesn't know it, because this is my joint. This is one of my favorite joints of yours, Waajeed. So I want to run that real quick. This is Tron by.
I'll tell you a story about it after you play it too.
All right, this is Tron by Waajeed. Let's go. That was Waajeed with Tron. It was originally on Bling 47. That was, yeah, like you said, the first track to really bridge techno and hip hop. And it's a fire track. I love that track, dude, so much.
Thank you for that, man. Thank you for that. Yeah, that track really I started making that track because Dilla was submitting tracks to Busta Rhymes, and I remember telling myself, like, I'm gonna make a track that actually will actually introduced Buster into what we're doing in terms of techno here in the city. And I think I made that track in maybe 1999, something like that. And then Dilla was like, "Man, I promise
You
I'm
in
gonna
New
give
York,
it.
weren't you?
I promise I'm gonna give it to Buster." So I don't think it ever got to Buster, but yeah, that was the genesis of the track. Appreciate you, Dilla.
You were living in New York at the time, right, Waajeed?
What happened?
You were living in New York at the time, right?
Yeah, I think I moved to New York maybe just after that tune that came out. So if anybody knows Busta Rhymes, well, Busta Rhymes is in the chat.
Right.
That's right. It's supposed to be for you.
Buster, get on that joint, dude. That would be fire.
Can you imagine
You missed
Busta
out
on
on
that
that one.
Crazy.
I mean, we might have to just make a blend with
That
it, you
would've
know?
been crazy.
Nah, I don't want the
That
I
would
want
be
the
fire.
track.
You want the real deal.
It's already fire.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I got a OP in the chat had a question for you, Waajeed, about that specifically. He said Tron was made on your MPC 2000. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was made on my MPC 2000. I shouldn't be saying this, but it actually chopped up a Bjork record.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Wow. We got to get Buster on that, though.
You
Let's
chopped up a what record,
manifest that.
Waajeed?
What happened? Did you say tell? Did Amp say tell the record? I bet he did. Is that what you said?
Oh shit. No, I was asking what did you sample?
Oh, I
What
can't
record did you
tell
sample
that. We might have to do
Okay,
a play
cool.
for each other breaks
I
about
thought that was what you. No, I thought that was what you said. I thought you told what record you sampled.
No.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no. Good. That was dope.
Hey, I got to give a quick shout out to a couple people in the chat. We got Lady Monix in the chat from Detroit. Great to see you here, Lady Monix. Big fan. We got Nina Soul in the chat.
Monica.
Nina, what up, dude?
We got Nina Mendoza in the chat. We got
Oh my God, you got the squad in the building. What up, y'all?
we got some people in here. Magnanimous. We got Master Lee. Low Key came in with a raid. We got a lot of really great people in here, and it's I want to make sure we give up some love. Forever Seeps.
Seeps, what up, though, Seeps?
Jajaris. John Simmons from Chicago's here as well. Big shout out to everyone tuned in right now. Mariposa Melanin, I think I'm saying that right. So thank you everyone tuning in. And if you guys have questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. We'll try and answer them later. The real QD, is that the real QD from Detroit too? That'd be great if that is.
That's QD in the building.
QD.
QD.
What up, QD?
QD was in the basement with us. When we used to go down.
Coney Gardens in the house.
Yeah, QD's OG. You know what I mean? So what up, though, QD?
He
If that's the same QD I'm thinking of, I got the Cash Flow record. I got the 12-inch. So shout out QD, a classic
That's the
record
same
right there.
QD, yeah. That's the same QD. And I shot the photo for that album.
Oh wow, wow, yeah. Because I mean, that's what you were doing too, right? You were really documenting history, Waajeed. I know when I don't know if I'm blowing up your spot here, but OP was telling me how you're sitting on a lot of incredible footage from those early years. So I mean, if you want to elaborate on that, go right ahead. But if it's something you want to keep on the low, let me know.
I actually don't want to elaborate on that. Thanks a lot for blowing up my spot, OP.
My bad.
No. But I will say, yeah, I definitely own one of the largest archives of Dilla photos and Slum Village, everything. I kept everything. You know what I mean? Like when we went through our journey. And QD can testify that in the chat that I got all the photos. So yeah, I'm holding on to that and deciding what Amp Fiddler and I gonna do, whether we're gonna make a documentary, what we gonna do, Amp.
I don't know, man. We have to talk about that. You know, take your time with that one. Ain't no rush on it.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you, OP, blowing me up. Thank you.
Yes,
I mean, that stuff's sacred, you know. So I understand sensitive stuff.
No, it's all good. No, it ain't no secret. You know what I mean? Like I was the only person around with a camera. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like I had to fight over or topple over people to document that stuff. Nobody was smart enough to care. You know what I mean? But they care now.
Told y'all Waajeed always been ahead of his time.
Yeah, it's really apparent now. But
always
hey,
up on. He had the next technology back then. Nobody was taking no pictures back then.
I mean, Yo, I
I
mean,
think I got one photo shoot for Slum Village, and I never got the pictures for the photographer.
oh wow. I mean, Blink 47
You
was
got
also a
it, brother.
website too, though, right? Like, I mean, that was to your point, Amp. Waajeed, you had bling47.com. I mean, that was like, for me at that time, that was probably one of the first rap websites I'd ever visited, I'd ever even known existed, and I think you were really ahead of the curve on
That was
that.
crazy.
So
Yeah, you know what?
That was
I
ahead of
decided, I decided
Yep.
to do Blink 47 because, like one of the first trips that Slum and I made to Europe, I forget what we performed, and I'm sure somebody knows, but I filmed the whole thing. But the crazy thing is that when we arrived, everybody knew the words to the songs. Slum Village had been bootlegged so much over there that, like everybody knew all the lyrics to the song. So we were calling ourselves the Black Beatles. But when we came back home, nobody gave a fuck. Nobody cared. Fuck. Nobody cared. So that's when I decided, like, I want to do this thing, Blink 47, to tell the world what we're doing because it's important. And sometimes the people around us don't have the value for it so much because they don't have the privilege to be able to step outside of our bubble. But I think, and I'm sure that Amp can testify to that as well with the stuff that he and his brother Bubs was doing. It's like sometimes it matters more outside of our communities first, and then we need to see when we see how much other people honor and respect it, then we can see the value for it for ourselves. And again, that's largely in part what we want to do here with UMA. Like we just want our local folks to know that we shape policy across the world. Just got to get to that space so you can see your value.
Yep, for sure.
yeah, Amp, was that something that you really saw and witnessed early on too with your with your travels with Parliament and even as a solo artist traveling through Europe? Was did that really kind of make you aware of how important your contributions and the contributions of Detroit were to the world?
It did. I always thought that. I mean, there was just so many amazing artists that we loved, looked up to, listened to, that set a tone and trend and innovation. When it's like that, you can only glow about it, and that was one of the things that definitely kept me inspired and wanted to be involved in music in Detroit with people because we were not just making music and we knew that we wanted to make music, but we were also concerned about how innovative we could become and what different music we could make to represent Detroit. Different than everybody else.
Yeah. 1,000%. Yeah, I think I want to tap into what Amp is saying about just the idea of innovation. It was always like important to not just. It was almost embarrassing to copy the person you're standing next to, and you almost owe a gratitude and respect to add a link onto the chain and actually do something that's innovative and new and something that's specifically you. For example, Amp and I just did separate remixes for my partner and my OG, the legend, Roy Davis Jr. And our remixes were so unique compared to what he had done or even the other stuff that had been turned in. It's almost like a new fucking tune. You know what I mean? And I know that Amp and I were thinking in the same space where it's like, look, this is what he did, but it's important for me to I got to put my bang in there. You know what I mean? Like it's important for me to really add my value and and do what I do, with the track.
And that's a beautiful thing when that happens because it's rare that we get a chance to do the same track like that, to remix, and it's really cool when you get to listen to when I listen to your remix and you listen to mine, and we know that it represents our personality totally.
which you killed, by the way, which is actually really
And what you killed as well, as usual.
yeah. We was thinking like Roy, you gotta step your mix up, bro.
Yeah, I'm sure he has. His is dope too. I'm sure. You know, Roy ain't gonna play.
No, Roy don't play. You know what I mean?
So
he's a legend.
I'm happy that we were all on a remix together. That's dope. Divine.
Yeah, and Matt, I think it's important. I mean, as anybody who's been listening to us talk for the last hour, to see how competitive we are.
Yep. I definitely picked up on that. Don't worry. But
yeah, I mean, you know, steel sharpens steel. You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
Like, and as much as you know what I'm saying, like we compete because Amp has. I mean, I don't even know if there's a show that PPP or that I've done. I mean, for example, one of the last PPP shows that we did, Amp killed us, man. He killed us. I think we went on before him. And then not only did
you did. And I can see your
us.
face over there said, yeah. And when we both shook hands, I was like, damn, that was a good song, man. I was like, oh shit. I'm
Like, man, you killed us, man. You killed us, man.
And y'all killed it on that show. I was like, oh, fuck.
And not only did he kill us, but you know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the night, the singer that I had hired to play in our band left with him.
Wow. Damn.
He left with Amp. It's like, yo, like I'm done with this. I'm gonna go over here with this real motherfucker killing.
Yeah. And then I
think
remember we played in Amsterdam at the for Carl Craig at the what's the name of that club we played at? Paradiso. I was trying my best to step up, but my shit was raggedy that night.
I got you that night, bro.
But you killed me that night.
I think
I was happy you did because I was like, I can't get it together tonight like I want to.
I think that friendly competition is really healthy, though, and I mean, you know, I really loved. I just want to touch back on something you said too. I thought it was really cool how you talk about, you know, you don't want to copy someone's style, and the more I think about, you know, especially the music from Detroit, but especially you guys and what you do, you know, you really have such a unique character, unique sound to what you do, and that's actually one of the hardest things to do in music is to really find your character, you know, and that for some people they never get there. For some of us like myself, it takes a really long time, and I really love that. That's almost like kind of at the, you know, a really important part of the music from Detroit being so innovative and pushing things so forward. And you know, sometimes, you know, even Dilla in his career had people criticize him or, you know, didn't like what he did. You know, I think we even talked about that on our interview, Waajeed, where, you know, people couldn't understand the swing of the drums, but, you know, eventually when they come around, they applaud him for it, you know, and they study him and the same for what you guys have done. And I think that, you know, Detroit is like, it seems like that's really at the core of what you guys do. Would that be a correct assumption?
Well, some of us.
Yep. Yep. I remember when I got signed to Polygram and I first met Waajeed and Dilla, and I moved to California. It was just before I met you guys. It was what got me to MPC 60. I was signed to Polygram Records with Ed Eckstein, and he was Billy Eckstein's son. And he said, Amp, I turned in some of the demos. He said, Amp, I really need to make me another Hey Little Walter. And I was like, I can't do that. I'm trying to do something that represents me. Raphael Sadiq is my boy, but you already got them. What the fuck you want me to make a record like them for? I'm not them. I'm not from fucking Oakland, California. I'm from Detroit. I'm making my shit like me. And of course, they dropped my ass.
Wow.
But you got to stand for something or you fall for any damn thing. And you got to believe in what you do. And when you are trying to do something different and innovative, you can't fucking let bullshit get in the way. Like, oh, come on, man, say your soul. We can give you $200,000 and just make one like this and sing it like that and make, you know, put a 3 on that shit, like George used to say. Let me put a 3 on that dope. Water that shit down for your ass so you don't nod out too hard. No. I want that real funk. I want the P-funk. I don't want my funk stepped on. I want that real shit. So it was a perfect example of that thing that you're just talking about, you know.
And
we as Detroiters are like that.
That's crazy. Never knew that. And yeah, I think people don't. I spoke about it a little bit in some of the pieces that I worked on with OP and Derek and Serato, your crew. You know, like what makes you different is your superpower. Really, what makes you different to the world, and it's actually the best thing about you. What makes you not conventional. What makes other people grasp force what you do. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to realize that for the most part, Dilla died before he became successful in terms of being like a household name, in terms of being, clickbait, which is another thing I was dealing with today. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's important for people to realize that, most times, you're not recognized and celebrated for what makes you different and unique, but really, it's what makes you special.
Well, that's I was thinking the same thing, man, and I think both what you're saying and what Amp's saying, it requires a lot of self-confidence, and I think as men, that's real. To be completely, honest, sometimes that's really hard for us. I mean, for just people in general to find that self-confidence, and especially as musicians, we face some adversity and we question ourselves. We have imposter syndrome, all sorts of stuff like that. There's plenty of buzzwords. But having that confidence, especially when you're doing something different, to persevere and to continue on. I mean, Amp, I can't imagine what it must have felt like to be dropped by a record label for sticking to your artistic integrity. Like that's got to be pretty hard. So kudos. Sticking to your guns.
I mean, it's never that easy. You know what I mean? But like it's more important for you to. I was told that when a racehorse is running, like they don't look left or right. Like if they do look left or right, they'll fall. So it's important for you to kind of stay focused and focus on what's in front of you, and also stay the fuck off Instagram. That shit'll have you fucking insecure and thinking second guessing yourself. There's nothing that you can do as one person that's going to counter like all of these years of psychologically studying human beings and all of that shit that's being used in these applications to make you second guess yourself. That's by a result. That's a result. Like that's, if the rain is real, so is the cause. So if you're on Instagram feeling insecure about your shit and what you're doing and thinking that you're not doing enough, that's a result of some design. So what you got to do is like, you just got to really buckle down and focus on your allies, your people that's around you, your community, your crew, your team. You know what I mean? And know that, look, while I'm over here doubting myself, Amp Fiddler is over there working. He putting in the work. So I gotta meet him where he at. Even if I don't really totally believe in what I'm doing, I gotta present it as you know what I mean? So that's why it's important for you to stay active and stay consistent. It's super important.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful to hear that because honestly, like I know you guys said you're kind of competitive with each other, but it also feels like you guys really lift each other up, and I feel like we talked about it maybe before we got on the phone call, but the people that we surround ourselves with, people like OP and Sonny and Derek and you guys, the way those people really help me. They help me navigate this world. They help. I mean, even my relationship with you, Gito. Like you helped me a lot. You've always been a really cool dude, really approachable, and honestly, it's been inspirational. So I feel like Amp's coming back in here. I feel like that it seems to be similar to what you guys do for each other as well. You really lift each other up and inspire each other. And
sorry, what I missed,
Amp.
I had to use the bathroom.
It's all good, man. It's life.
Sorry,
Fella keep it real, man. You're not gonna have that problem with Amp Fiddler. He's gonna always keep it real. But that's also part of what makes Amp so genuine. You know what I mean? Like, like what I find is that we normally have the same enemies. And I'd be like, yo, like, okay, so I'm not crazy. That motherfucker's full of shit.
Right. See.
Yeah.
So, but what I will say is this: that it's like you just got to find your team, man. You just got to find the people that Dilla did not exist in a vacuum. He existed because there was a team of us that was like, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Go, move forward. You know what I mean? And he could step into the universe, or he could step to wherever he was going. If he was going to California, if he was going to New York, wherever he was going, he had a team behind him. Was just like, you're right. What you're doing is right. It's innovative. It's perfect. Don't listen to them telling you that like the style, or or when they erase your drum machine when you leave the studio because they want the drums to synchronize more better. You know what I mean? Like,
that's bullshit. Yeah, right.
Bullshit. Just keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's better to walk and be right and actually being your real self, to walk into their room and have, speak in your true voice, than to try to pretend like you're somebody else and fail.
Well, kudos to both of you for doing that, and for yourselves for doing that for each other, and for really for the rest of us. We all benefit from that. So, I just want to say, I want to make sure it's on record. We really appreciate that, and that attitude, and what you guys are doing. With that attitude, applying that to the next generation with what you're doing with the Underground Music Academy. I mean, these kids are going to be in really good hands, and I mean, that's fantastic. Honestly, I mean, that's fantastic.
Thank you. And and just to be clear, like, Underground Music Academy is just not only for Detroiters. It's actually a situation where we teach a small group of Detroiters here in the city, but our biggest outreach will be online. So we will be available. We will have online classes. Camp Amp will be visiting you very soon.
My brother. Indeed. Hey, man, it's cold as fuck in here. I got to get out of here.
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate you guys' time. I don't want to hold you up. It's been a great hour and a half, honestly, chatting with you guys.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Waajeed. Love you, man.
But Amp, I'm gonna write out to one of my favorite performances of yours, performing "I'm Doing Fine" live. I found it on YouTube, and I was just like, man, I gotta share this with the world. So as we ride out, I'm gonna take us out with that. But before we go, is there anything that you guys want to say? Anything you want to shout out, or anything you want to promote? This is the time.
Amp, you want to go first? You want to go first?
I'm promoting the single "Energy." It's the song that I wrote, and it's got the Doughboy remix of Waajeed. So get that. Y'all want to get some of my shit? That's the latest right now.
You can get that on your Bandcamp, right, Amp?
And James Brown have a new record out. I've been pushing them. I've been producing it. James Brown. They have a dope single that they just did with DJ Dez out, and there's some Louis Vega remixes coming. So, look for that too. There's a Follow More remix that's really cool from them. That's about it for me. I'm just going back over there to Persian to walk my dogs.
All right. Well, we can check that on your Bandcamp. Is that right, Amp?
That's right.
Okay, we'll plug your Bandcamp in the chat here. So if you want to get the James Brown or the Energy remix or the Energy original, you can get that there. Gito, what's coming up for you?
Well, I will say y'all fucked around and didn't put me on that remix for James Brown. That was a mistake. Y'all needed my shit on there. Stop playing, man. Call me, man. But the price is going up.
Man, you killing it. We ain't even gonna talk about the song you got out coming out on James Brown. That's ridiculous, man.
The price is going up. The price is going up. No, I'm kidding. But listen,
you gotta finish that shit first, man.
Much love to the Dame Funk, by the way. But I do want to say that the next version of or the next thing I'm putting out is the Patty Hearst beat tape. You've heard that here first on Link 47. Beat tape that I put out in 2005. Gonna be red vinyl, double vinyl, beautiful cover. That's coming out. And next to that is Acts of Love 3 on Dirt Tech Rec. And then yeah, keep an eye out for Memoirs of High Tech Jazz. That's
And people
gonna
can
be-
find that on your website, or where would they find that? Do you know?
Well, all of this will be on my Instagram. So if you follow me on the gram, yeah, that's where you find that is. But I will say, the next thing is the main thing I want to focus on. Did y'all know Amp was in the city?
In the same building.
Yeah, he's in the same building. He's right here.
Yeah. I just got the microphone on, but you can still see me. I'm
Yeah, there, we got him in the flesh, guys. There we go.
All right, yeah, that's it. That's all we got, bro.
That's it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We're gonna run out. We're gonna run out to the live performance of "I'm Doing Fine" by Amp Fiddler. Much love. Big up the whole Detroit City Underground Music Academy. Peace.